The fact of the matter is, I'm a mediocre artist. Not a bad artist by any means, but somehow still not an amazing artist either. Just kind of average. When I look around at other artists online, their work is gorgeous and polished and viral. Meanwhile, I'm over here looking at my work, just thinking that my art is fine. But apparently, no one cares about fine. This is what people on the internet call the Mediocre Artist Curse. To be quite honest, it's something I, myself, have been struggling with for the past few months. I've even caught myself asking, what if this is all I've got? There is, after all, a finite amount of attention in the world, so what if this is all that I'm allotted? In this video, I want to open up about how that so-called curse shows up in my own work, both in the Lost Land Sage and my personal illustrations. I want to open up about why it feels so hard to shake this alleged curse and what I'm doing to push through to the other side of mediocre anyway. You can determine if my efforts are working or not, and maybe, if you're an artist or creative person in any capacity and have ever felt the same way, this will remind you that you're not alone. BT dubs, hello! This mediocre artist's name is Tiara, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Here, I like to talk about the behind the scenes of creating my online graphic novel, The Lost Land Sage. I won't ask you to subscribe or tell you about my story and how you can support me yet, but if you stick around until the end of this video when I do talk about those things, I'd really appreciate your time and attention. So, what even is a mediocre artist's curse? As generalized and loosely defined by the artistic public, a mediocre artist is someone who is just good enough for their art to be seen as someone who is not a beginner, but below what it takes to be one of the great artists we see online today. This type of artist's curse is both thinking they are better and worse than the zeitgeist of the artistic public is showing them that they are. It's hard for this person not to compare, and sometimes the voice in said artist's head gets really loud and sounds like, maybe I'm just average, maybe I'll never stand out. People enjoy your work, but it doesn't stretch past the bounds of your sphere of influence. Followers actively engage with your work, but your following has stayed stagnant and no sudden growth is looming on the horizon. Your nephew thinks you're cool, but the general public hasn't caught up to the same sentiment. That's a bit of a personal and specific example, but in your bubble, you are a great artist. Outside your bubble, you're just another average artist trying to make it in this online digital landscape. Someone who is trying to carve a U-shaped hole for you and only you to fit into because the square hole everyone else fits into is already full.
The triangle. We know what hole that goes
The
into,
triangle.
right?
Triangle.
That's right, the square hole.
If you couldn't guess after I just beat you over the head with it, this weird spot of average feels like my life in the art world right now. The Lost Land Sage looks better and better with every single panel I draw, especially when looking at the past. Yet, the attention still isn't where I would hope it to be. My illustrations as a whole have gotten more detailed and taken more time, but the eyes that see it don't seem to equate to a firm standing as a good artist. And before you say, yes, I know that some people have it worse.
And there's people that are dying.
But I am only human, at least so far as you know, and these are my raw emotions. Another raw emotion that is hard to admit, I get jealous. I see other art or artists, their work isn't as, quote, good, end quote, as my work, or Their work is so many leagues ahead of my work, and they have a loyal following that would support their favorite artist to the moon and follow them into the sun. These comparisons that I make, they don't just steal my joy, they make me feel disgusting. I feel like I'm being ungrateful for the support and following that I do have. I feel mean-spirited for thinking I'm better than anyone else in any capacity. I feel stupid for not trusting God and holding a strong, steadfast faith. I feel unworthy and I feel small. That's the raw, honest truth. Since we're putting my heart on the table for the internet to see anyway, let's get specific. I was so incredibly proud of this piece right here. It's not done yet, but just the line art was received so well across my various online platforms. I was so excited to share this. I was so sure this would be the missing puzzle piece to push me into recognizable art YouTuber, Instagrammer sensation territory. Silly goofy me, I guess. One short form video can do exceptionally well, and then one can get crickets. A story I share can get lots of engagement, but a post may not even be seen by my followers. At least my nephew still thinks I'm cool, and I'm trying my best to pretend that that's enough, hoping one day I'll actually believe it to be true. But I will admit what no one else is willing to. No one creates their art or puts their story out online or in the world for others to see and engage with and expect nothing. Hate, I expect, but nothing. That's what hurts. And that's what this so-called curse is based around, struggling to stand out as the snowflake that is better than all the others. Feeling stuck, self-criticizing, self-doubt, and fear. If you're an artist or a creative person in any capacity, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've come to find that is exactly the problem. Confession time. I am a self-help, self-improvement girly. One of the pillars of who I am as a person is a dedication to personal growth in all aspects of my life. I'm very blessed to say that I have a boyfriend that shares those same values, so it extends to every part of my life. One of the biggest things I've been practicing lately is reframing my perspective. See, I'm an optimist, but I'm also a realist. Too much has happened in my life for me not to be a realist. Sometimes, though, I find that the realism bleeds into negativity. However, when I start reframing things and how I perceive them, I can go back to being my true, optimistic, realistic self. And that brings me back to the looming curse of the mediocre artist. I know I'm cringe, you don't have to tell me. Anyway, it's a self-inflicted curse. What is mediocrity but a phase between beginner and expert? Yes, the support for beginner artists on the internet is insurmountable. To get to be mediocre means you have dedicated the time to do so. Now, to be an expert, you have to, and I have to, be able to keep dedicating that time and effort to do so, and even without overwhelming support. That's what proves this isn't just a phase to try and have an extra income or a trendy job title. That's what proves you are an artist for the sake of art, not for followers and fame. What is average but the sum of your parts being on equal footing of your peers? And how beautiful it is to be able to stand on equal footing with all your peers, to discuss topics of value or struggles of color theory, and be able to not only relate to each other, but fill in those blanks. Critiques that are coming from a place of empathy instead of superiority. And if you've ever been in a university level art class, you know exactly what I mean when I say that. Equal footing for you and I to be able to step up to the plate or step down and make room for someone else with more dedication. And if I can be so bold to say, the people who started their online art journey at the same time as me and blew up fast. I hope it's not mean for me to say this observation, but as I see it, they were like a shooting star. They burned fast and bright, and then they burned out. One creator I haven't seen posted anywhere in nearly a year. Or they burn fast and bright and descend to the earth, never to be seen or looked for again. From hordes of engagement to barely any interactions. And I'm not cheering for the downfall of fellow creators. I wish every single person the best. I wish every person their happiness, however that takes form. I hope the creators that I'm thinking of when I made that comparison truly are doing well. Still, I also know that from watching their experience that a fast, hot, viral sensation is not the path to true, everlasting satisfaction and success. The path to success is through mediocrity. Mediocrity means I am still making, creating, and sharing my work with the world. And mediocre as my art may or may not be, no one can create the narrative that I'm sharing my art through. No one else can make the world of Tourmaline or the story of the Lost Land Sage. It's a story that is so unique to my life as a schizophrenic woman. The descent into madness, the self-acceptance, and the new normal that is my schizophrenic experience through my eyes, my style, and my understanding. So it may be mediocre, but it's still uniquely mine. It's even kind of poetic because Wisteria, my story's main character, is figuratively in the same spot right now as I am. She's stuck between potential and execution, doubting herself, not fully stepping into who she could be yet. I think that a lot of us are figuring this world of digital art and connection out together. As I'm wrapping up this video, and since I started out so strongly with the negativity, I want to leave you with some positivity and motivation. 1. Keep creating. Don't ever stop, even if it feels meh and no one else but you sees it or cares. B. Focus on improvement, not perfection or fame. Your people will find you. Your unique strength will develop, and that's something that you can be proud of. Finally, lean into the story that makes you unique. Whether it's music, photography, traditional or digital art, game development, what have you. Incorporate the unique thing that makes you, you, into that art, and no one else could ever be able to replicate it. At least not without looking as soulless as an AI copy of originality. Let's just commit to working together to remove the idea of a mediocre artist in the form of a curse from the zeitgeist and just reframe it as an artist in motion. In fact, I would like to coin Tierra's law of mediocrity. An artist at rest remains at rest, and an artist in motion remains in motion at a constant speed in a straight line, unless acted on by an algorithmic force. Thank you so much for staying until the end of this video. If you made it here, be sure to like and comment so I know that you enjoyed the video. You can comment your favorite flower or a flower emoji to show that you're in this journey with me, and we can create a garden of growing creatives together. By the way, you can read my unique story, The Lost Land Sage, via the links I leave in the description of every single one of my videos. I publish 2 new pages every other Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Comic Fury. So, next Sunday, 2 new pages will be ready for you to read. I also post every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Webtoon. That means that right now there are new pages for you to read over there, but I will say, Webtoon is a bit behind Comic Fury, which is why I post every week, and I tell you that so you can beware of spoilers. If you'd like to support me and the Lost Lane Sage, you can do so on my Ko-Fi, which is also linked below. I post free blog updates, and paid members get access to Discord. I post free blog updates, and paid members get access to Discord, early page releases, monthly digital downloads, and more. And to those of you that already have shown immense encouragement for my journey and in any monetary or non-monetary capacity, thank you. Thank you so much for supporting the Lost Land Sage, even when I'm still figuring out my art, because it honestly means more to me than I could ever say. Don't forget to subscribe, as we are now on the road to 500 subscribers. I'd love to see you back here again. Oh, and be sure to ring the notification bell, because the YouTube algorithm likes to blow my videos every which way except for to your subscription box. That's all I have to say for now, except for one more thing. Stay curious and suffer the consequences. I'll see y'all next time. Bye!